Next guest has seen the impact of gun violence up close. Ron Barber was a staff member for former Arizona Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, who, as you know, was shot during a campaign appearance just over 2 years ago. Barber was also injured in that shooting and was later asked by Giffords to run in a special election for her seat after she resigned. He won and was sworn in last summer. Congressman Barber joins me now from Washington. Welcome, Congressman.
Good morning. Nice to be with you.
Oh, we're happy that you're here. We've heard a lot about states moving forward with gun control measures, but at the federal level, it seems like a very tough sell. The Majority Leader, Harry Reid, saying he doubts such a measure to ban assault weapons, for example, would get through the House. What does that mean for national gun control laws? Are we at a stalemate?
I don't believe we are. I think it really comes down to what are we going to be able to get bipartisan support for in the Congress. And there are three things that I believe are possible to get across the aisle support. My major focus has been since January 8th on mental health services and awareness, and I'll be dropping a bill today that will move in that direction. It's called the Mental Health First Aid Act. So that's one thing that I believe is possible. There seems to be some unanimity, if you will, across the aisle on mental health services, and my bill will hopefully be one of the first steps in that direction.
You met with Vice President Biden as part of a task force convened by the President. The Vice President was supposed to deliver his recommendations today to the President, but he delayed that. Why the holdup?
I'm not sure I could tell you why the holdup. I know that when we met yesterday, the task force that I'm a member of, a vice chair of, the Prevention of Gun Violence Task Force in the House, we met with the Vice President and 3 cabinet secretaries for 2.5 hours yesterday to present our thinking and our ideas about how we might get a handle on and hopefully reduce particularly mass shootings in our country. I proposed the Mental Health First Aid Act, and I believe that was well received. We'll see if it comes into the final packet. But there are also 2 other things that I think we possibly can get bipartisan support for. One is universal background checks, particularly those where people who are not supposed to have guns under the law can go in without a background check and get those guns. We're talking about felons and people who are a danger to self or others with mental illness. And then the third, which is very personal for me, is trying to reduce the amount of bullets that can be carried in a magazine. We were shot with a Glock, a pistol that had 30 bullets in a magazine and 1 more in the chamber, and in 45 seconds or less, 19 people were down and 6 died. I believe we can get some consensus to reduce the size of magazines, to at least give people a chance to get away, to intercept, to intervene with the shooter, get police there. It certainly would have cut down on the number of people who were killed and wounded in Tucson, and I believe in Connecticut as well.
Yeah, we just had a graphic up just, reaffirming what you said about some of the recommendations the task force will make to President Obama. President Obama yesterday said in a speech that he is ready to issue an executive order concerning gun control. Are you in favor of that?
Well, first of all, I'd have to see what the executive orders or order that the president is talking about before I could make a judgment as to whether I would support it or not. I believe, though, generally speaking, that any changes that are going to impact on the public and public policy ought to be made through the congressional process, where we can have hearings, we can have floor debate, and we can actually enact laws. And I believe the most serious aspects of this issue are going to be resolved that way, not by executive order. So I would have to wait and see what the president proposes, but I generally favor going through the congressional process, which is how our government was designed to work.
And I'm just curious, and it's a last question. What kind of law would you object to that might be executed by the president through an executive order?
Well, I don't know what his breadth of powers are. There's some talk about perhaps having to do with gathering data, background checks. But I really believe that in order to do anything significant, we're going to have to pass laws. And the 3 that I'm concerned about, as I said, are mental health, background checks, universal background checks, and reducing the capacity for weapons that can shoot so many people in a short period of time.
Arizona Congressman Ron Barber, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me this morning. I appreciate it.
We've got